world.
You chop, chop, chop and then Mero.
Hello, my name is David. I'm from Ireland, currently living in Cambridge, Massachusetts, USA. And today I'm cooking 2 pizzas. Many years ago, I was living in Switzerland for a semester, and I went to a bicycle protest street cycling march, and these people invited me to their home to have pizza. So we cooked pizza together, we sat around, drank wine. It was wonderful. It was a really pleasant experience. So from that I realized how pleasant pizza can be for cooking for a large group of people, and then also how simple it is and how versatile it is. The action, sharing, it's just, so if I could borrow a little bit from Christianity here, I would say that pizza is the secular equivalent of the Eucharist. So today we're going to be cooking 2 pizzas. One which is a basic pizza, tomatoes, basil and mozzarella. And the second one is going to be kale with eggs and jalapeños. The trick in cooking pizza is to have the iron pan really hot. So I warm it up in the oven for about 15 minutes beforehand at the highest temperature. And then I roll out the dough, drop it onto the pan, and then add all the ingredients. Cook it in the oven for about 3 minutes, and then put it underneath the broiler for about 2 minutes. So the entire cooking process takes about 5 minutes, which is quite fast. I'm going to start by cooking the marinara sauce for a few minutes on a pan. So one of the challenges when cooking pizzas is you don't want the dough to get soggy. So I like to make sure that the dough, or the pizza sauce is quite thick. So I like evaporate some of the moisture out of it. And in this case it's just a very simple marinara sauce. I'm going to be adding a tiny bit of onion and garlic. So one of the important aspects of pagan food preparation is to periodically bless your food with a particular set of gestures. So today, as it's a Sunday, we're going to be using the claw. Saute these very briefly and then add in about 2 to 3 cups of marinara sauce onto the pan. We're just simmering it at a very low temperature, just evaporating the moisture off. So I'm going to have this ticking along for about 10-15 minutes while I get all the other ingredients ready. And now is a good time to warm up your pan. So here I'm heating it up, I'm putting the oven at 500, so it's as hot as possible. You can see the tomato sauce is becoming a little bit thicker. Important to stir it periodically so it doesn't burn. So something that's important is to have all of your, for this type of pizza, is to have all of your toppings ready together, so that when you actually throw the dough onto the pan, you can put them on very quickly. First is we have a all-natural fresh mozzarella cheese log for slicing. So I generally slice it into slices about 3/8 of an inch thick. But we're also going to have basil as a topping. I'm going to put on whole leaves, so I'll just throw them right on. Just beautiful. So here we're grating a Dubliner cheese, which is a medium-aged cheddar from Ireland, which I'm very fond of. And then I'm going to cut, I think, 2 jalapeños in this case. You can see here, they're really finely sliced, and that's great. They really bring out the flavour, and I throw them seeds and all on. Now we're going to start making rolling out our pizza dough. So I'm going to do this 2 separate ways. So I'm going to split the dough into 2 pieces. The first one, I'm going to roll it out by flouring the raw surface that we're working on. And this way it prevents the dough from sticking to the surface. So my method of rolling, there's like various schools of thought, but in this case I'm actually just using a regular rolling pin. Some people say you should move it with your hands, just toss it around. I haven't found it makes a massive difference. Alright, so you can see I've got a pretty thin dough here, about the right size and perfectly circular. And to make sure that it doesn't stick, what I'm actually going to do is throw this aluminum foil in and then lay the dough out on that so I can move it around in a few minutes time. This is really important because I've made the mistake before of not doing this, and then it's really hard to get up off the surface that you roll it out on. I'm going to roll this one out using olive oil actually instead of flour. The oil prevents the dough from sticking to the surface, but also prevents it from sticking to the pan. And it ends up giving it quite an interesting kind of texture as well. It's important to turn the dough quite frequently when you're rolling it out, so that it doesn't stick to any particular surface. Despite my best efforts at trying to make it a circle, I've made a perfect square. Looks a little bit like a bat when you hold it up. We've rolled out the dough, we have our toppings ready, and now I'm going to take the very hot iron pan and turn the front burner on and move it up here, and then just drop it in. Into the oven for 3 minutes. So now I've switched my oven to broil. I've moved the pizza from the main oven to the broiling position. I'm going to have it there for 2 minutes and then I'll take it out. There's a little bit of trial and error in estimating the timing. In this case, it's looking pretty good. You can lift it right out, but if you look here, you can see that there's still could do it a few more minutes probably, or another minute maybe. And if you look underneath, you can see it's cooked great. This one is going to have the same tomato base. We're going to have kale, onions, mozzarella, 3 eggs, jalapeños, and some tomatoes. Thank you. And then I'm just going to readjust it very slightly to make sure that it sits in there and forms a little bit of a crust. Red chili flakes. We're going to cook it a little longer, so we're going to give it a minimum of 5 minutes in the oven. Then we give it a quick blast under the boiler, and then maybe some more time in the oven again. It's looking like the dough is quite nicely cooked, the base. As I mentioned, there are a lot more toppings in this guy, so it's looking underneath. Yeah. Looks pretty crispy.
Come into your kitchen and pick up your bowl. Healthy and happy food that's good for your soul. chopping with, popcorn's popping with, anything can happen with Mero. There's no stopping with, not just talking with, we're chopping with.
It's hard to really pin it down to pizza being instrumental in our evolution, but it's as good a reason as any.